Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order on March 25th, 2025 at exactly 1:30. Since trustee Katz, is she with us yet on Zoom?
Yeah, we're loading.
Okay. Okay, we'll in a second, but since she's not physically present, I was gonna ask trustee Stern-Charge to take roll. So we'll wait
Okay, see if she's.
for trustee people to come in the way.
Yes.
So you're inviting her to panelists? Okay. Okay, so you're ready to take roll?
Yeah, Natalie, can you hear us? Oh.
Hello.
Yeah, okay.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, trustee Stern-Charge is going to take a roll call today.
All right. President
I'm
Nakatani,
here.
trustee Abdoli.
Here.
Trustee Katz. Trustee Katz,
Here.
are you present?
We need to increase our volume. I heard.
Yes, I'm here, having some
Here.
Bluetooth issues, but hopefully you can hear me.
And I'm present.
Okay, we're gonna have to get the
Her volume
our
up.
volume up. Thanks, Natalie. Let's see, I'm gonna call for approval of the agenda. First, I want to do we have any public comment today?
I haven't received any public
Okay.
Okay, well then
Then let's
that's the
just
case,
approve the
approve the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, trustee Katz. Okay, we are going to go, we don't have any public comments. We're gonna go straight into the presentation. Thank you.
All right. Well, let the presentation get queued up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's skip through a few slides. So I'm thrilled to be here and thank you for all of us being here to recommend the approval of an extension of transitional kindergarten for the 25-26 school year. We have had a tremendous community effort to make this a reality, and I just thrilled that we're going to be able to continue to do the work we've been doing with our outstanding transitional kindergarten program. So my recommendation is that you make a motion to approve the extension of the program for the 25-26 school year. We do have a little bit of background, so if you switch forward, that's my recommendation. One of the things we did want to capture for the board is just the variety of programming in the community in general. Not all districts, as you know, offer transitional kindergarten, and some offer it with different iterations. The expectation is that it runs in your own district, concurrent with your kindergarten day, and that it is taught by highly credentialed teachers. So I'm just capturing that for the community, for individuals who might be watching to understand what it is, what the world of TK is. Next slide. And to get there, we have some proposed budget reductions that will end up with a reevaluation for transitional kindergarten. The first couple of slides are, the first slide on each of these is a definition of sort of what it is we're reallocating from or reducing, and then what the impact is. So in this case, we had staff extra duty hours. You'll see what they're used for, and we're recommending a reduction in this area. Next slide, please. We built in, and so you'll look at, if you see the average, which is about $575,000 a year, we're recommending going down to a $450,000 a year budget. This year we had increased in our LCAP because we had a new language arts adoption, and we're also finishing the last year of some of our communities of practice work. And so I think we're relatively safe if we reduce this area moving forward. You don't have to keep our eye on it, but here is routine maintenance and annual scheduled repairs. Again, at our last board meeting, we spoke about creating a deferred maintenance plan. In this case, we believe if we move forward with a deferred maintenance plan, we will be covered for some of those routine maintenance items that we need. Can you slip back for one thing?
You got it.
Just capturing some of the areas, like this year, our electrical was about $343,000. That is not something that's typical for us. So again, moving into areas where we might be able to save it. Landscaping is $82,000. That's something we could potentially handle very much internally. So looking at areas where we can make reductions on the natural. Next slide. So again, here you'll see this year, our budget was almost 1.9 and our average is 1.6. So we feel confident that if we pull $300,000 out there and also hold a deferred maintenance account, that we should be okay moving into next year. Next slide. And then here is the technology renewal and replacement schedule. We have an annual, we have a 5-year cycle basically where we're repairing and replacing equipment. This would start our next cycle, and basically since we've done so much work during COVID and building out our one-to-one devices, we don't feel like we need the budget that we have now. Next slide. So we're looking at a reduction again of about $100,000, and again we're certainly well within our average of expenses. So this is where we scrubbed to find funding to sustain, help us, support the community efforts internally. Next slide. So you'll see the total here where we came up with it. The next slide is just opportunities for questions or discussions.
Trustee you?
Can I find out why we budgeted so much higher amount than was actually spent? Like the maintenance, for example?
Because we have things like
No,
fire
but
hydrants.
no,
Yeah,
like
right.
no, like we budgeted a lot more than what we spent to date.
I think
So-
historically, the budget hasn't been necessarily anchored in actual expenditures.
Okay,
And so, looking at what our averages are and building those year over year with an escalator of whatever percentage the escalator is, that's certainly why we're here having this conversation about budgets, is that our budget hasn't always been aligned to what our expenses were, and we used to come up with reserves that, like a surplus.
yeah, I'm just like a little bit confused because we're not off by a little, we're off by a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah, and in this case, we've
This
also
year was
spent
also
it.
been- yeah.
I mean, but like we are spending with what we've historically have done, so I'm a little bit confused why, like.
So this has been an interesting year. Realize that a big chunk of those expenses are due to an insurance claim that we have
At Edna.
at Aetna.
Yeah.
So we had 2 back-to-back water damage insurance
Did
claims.
we get claim money?
They were approved.
They were
Okay.
We haven't received the money yet.
When we receive the money, it'll offset.
Yeah.
That's good.
So it just seems like we always add extra cushion, so there is some
Mhm.
money. to
We
be
don't.
next.
We don't.
Well, you don't, but previously we did.
Correct.
Correct.
Historically, I just don't think, again, it hasn't necessarily, the allocations and expenditures haven't gone hand in hand based on an average annual expenditure plus additional cost of living or, escalators.
For CPI.
But going
Well,
forward.
and just, may I add in one thought around that? Just thinking back to a few years ago with the rain
Budget.
and, and how the.
I hear
roofs,
Natalie.
We needed some.
Natalie, is there a way to increase the volume, please?
Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
A little bit, Natalie. Allegheny is on the Polycom. Oh, it's coming in.
Okay.
Yeah, it's coming out.
Can you hear me okay now?
Change it to the TV.
Not really.
Give us a second, Natalie.
Okay.
While
Okay.
you're doing that, may I ask a question?
Yes.
So I think, in terms of understanding budget cycles, however, we did create this budget.
Yes.
From which we had to make cuts. So, and this was this additional funds that, again, you did another look-see to say, wow, the formulas that were used are still producing excesses in different buckets?
We
Is
always
that-
said we
would
were
that
gonna
be-
go back and look at operations.
Okay.
And, you know, we're looking at the 4,000s, 5,000s, which we brought in February, I think, and then we went back and looked even more. Went over the LCAP based on what we knew to be
Mhm.
how we're gonna spend, you know.
We kind of went backwards actually this year because our expenses have been more this year. We went back 3 years to see what are the averages, because we have had a lot more expenses this year. There were our one-offs. So we kind of went backwards, and then going forward, we're gonna take the trends and then build a CPI.
Great, because I think that's
Can you
important.
explain what a CPI is? I mean, just,
Consumer
cost of living.
right, just
Yeah.
explain what the,
Consumer price index.
Yeah.
it's more for just not using acronyms.
Yeah,
Back to you.
So like some of the stuff, like, maintaining, I mean, our buildings are old.
Yes.
I mean, it's,
That's-
so what I'm concerned is,
Mm.
are we going to somehow, under our really old school buildings? And another thing that really concerns me is the fire danger. I mean, the plants, we've been
Mhm.
maintaining everything because we live in the wildfire zone. And I wonder if we, cut our maintenance to the bone, we somehow compromise the safety of our staff and our children.
So most of it has been electrical
Yeah,
issues. And some of those are actually projects that are within Measure G that need to be addressed. And what's probably we will have to evaluate the priority of Measure G because of this year, the issue with the HVAC system here and
Mhm.
heating system at the middle school has caused this, and oh, I'm gonna mess up.
We've
Which
had
school site? We have a boiler at one of our districts. It's also
Park.
at Park that's an issue, so we might have to push those projects to the more immediate to address them because it's part of the costs that are driving this.
but maintaining our yards, plants.
We have a
fire
land,
hazards.
so we actually have a landscaper.
Okay,
It's part of our classified bargaining group.
Yeah.
So it's kind of relooking at everybody's schedules and priorities.
And again, this is still a delta of $300,000 over average,
Yeah.
so if we look at average, we believe we can trend on what our historical average has been.
okay, like flooding and.
Yeah, I mean, right, that's the escalation, and again, at some point, we need to replace the HVAC system on a 60-year-old building, so,
Yeah, I mean, I just am concerned a little bit about, cutting so much that we're compromising.
yeah, it's.
I also want to share as a prior educator that I know that extra duties sounds like an easy thing to cut, but the more that your professionals are working outside their normal work hours, the better for kids and for planning. So I don't want to minimize, these cuts, because I do feel that we're doing this because we're coming together as a community to provide an important service to our little kiddos here in Mill Valley, but it's not without sacrifice. And it is a 1 year, which I hope we will have time to really, look at these things carefully to plan for the future.
Do we have?
Can we ask
trustee-
Natalie to
Yeah,
speak? Natalie,
Yeah.
can you speak please so I can play with the speaker?
Can you hear me now?
yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, go back.
Yeah, I'm trying. Give me 1 second. There we go.
We're ready for your question, because we couldn't hear you earlier, Natalie.
Oh, I was just going to add a thought. Oh, I can hear my echo. I was just going to add a thought around the roofs and the extreme rain that we had a few years ago, and how a number of our facilities needed things. So I agree with Yunhee, but it seems like you guys are focusing on kind of cutting back on more of the non-essentials, and where there is not going to be impact to safety and well-being, and continuing to maybe strike a balance moving forward between the necessities and safety, and in trying to provide what's best for the kids in our community.
So, yeah, I would agree on that note, I'm okay with delaying some of these maintenance things, that would be a little more routine for a year, but I do know the term deferred maintenance. I think that's actually irresponsible.
Yeah.
So I'm not looking to create a deferred maintenance fund. I think our maintenance needs on our old buildings need to be addressed when they happen, to prevent any homeowner knows if you don't fix that roof this season and you let it go another rainy season, you're just in for a whole another world of hurt. So I want to make sure we're not kind of planning for anything like that. And on extra duty, could you kind of just briefly explain so I understand the CKLA was we increased the budget to cover a lot of summer training for the implementation of the curriculum. Can you just touch on what does PTA meetings mean and other professional learning or after school events? Like what are we not
So if they're
approving?
outside of day PTA meetings, we pay teachers an hourly, or if they're in during the day, I believe they get a substitute. And then we've had communities of practice where we do like diversity, equity, inclusion, or Sam Grayson's changing perspectives. So, and those are in essence one-offs because they're not something that everybody gets. And so, you know, one of the things that we've done that's been very effective this year and is actually ongoing this week is we release an entire grade level to come in and work with us to do planning. So that's a more everybody attends and can be there in the room together. So I think that's a better use of time because it's during regular work hours. And we don't currently have a new adoption coming. I think when we do have a mathematics adoption, we will need to do that same sort of budgeting, proactively for. And we're also anticipating potentially one-time state revenues that could offset some of this. We just can't count on that, but it would be targeted for student support and professional development. So
This would mean that our teachers who typically there is a teacher representative on the PTA meetings would no longer be attending because they're typically.
no, they could attend.
They could
It's
attend.
just that we've cut, we expanded our budget another 300,000 over past. Typically, we spend about 450, well, 525, I think. So I don't anticipate a huge drop.
Okay.
We just added in our LCAP, we added a lot because we didn't know
Okay.
what the
Got it.
cost of the language arts implementation would be. And we also thought there would be a lot more people participating in the communities of practice. So when we built the LCAP, we budgeted for 20 people in each group over the course of 2 hours times 10 meetings, and we just don't have that turnout.
Okay. A little bit of over budgeting and.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just share, I appreciate you coming to provide these things to close the gap. I appreciate that. And I think I want to make clear, because we've already gotten the people who are unhappy with the additional cuts, but one thing I really appreciate is that the community parent groups leading this effort, they didn't ask us to close the gap. That was something that you approached us with, closing the gap. I appreciate that there was just an effort to raise the full amount. And I appreciate your creative thinking to find us a way to close this gap. I also appreciate, I know there was discussion, given how many TK programs offer 3-hour programs, that there was a lot of discussion about having us have something like that. And that's something I feel very strongly against, right? I didn't appreciate when our kindergarten classes had the early dismissals for 3 weeks, the earlier, it doesn't work for many parents. And so I appreciate that we stuck to the full day consistent with the kindergarten. I know that obviously costs a lot more money, and I know that, we're not going to make everyone happy, but I appreciate that you are approaching us with a way to close this gap and make this happen. And to our community for not, how do I say this? There was never that feeling of like, go cut X, Y, and Z. It was very much let us figure out how to make this happen. And I appreciate that, because it's, you never want it to feel like people are coming at each other, especially when we're all trying to do what's best for kids. So I appreciate that it was just let's figure out how to get this source to happen rather than, take from different things. So,
Here.
thanks to all.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
For someone who's been a little out of the loop this week, can we get an update on like where the numbers are Do we have,
I haven't
Or we're
looked
not.
today yet.
okay,
We're at like 1.47 yesterday. Right, yeah, but I have,
1.4970.
All right.
Yeah.
that is outstanding. Yeah, thank you.
right.
Mhm. Okay.
With that, if there are any other questions? That's it. Trustee Katz, anything else?
I don't think so. It's hard being away from you guys right now.
We
We wish you a speedy recovery.
I feel your pain, but only in my
Thank
right
you.
arm.
Thank you. I know.
Shoulder.
Okay, this has been, echoing your sentiments, trustee Everly, this has been, a lot of, it's been a lot of feelings, and it's been a lot of work. And I'm proud that our community, and our foundation, and our district could find us. So thank you very much. With that, I'm going to call for a motion to approve, approve an extension of the TK program for the 25-26 school year. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Trustee Katz?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
I think we can adjourn.
Yep.
That's it. Okay, thank you, everyone. It is
Thank you.
1:51.
Thank you.
I know.